wheel his way to win.
How did he do it?
Yeah, mere mortals don't do that.
That was a very, very
EA Sports.
rare thing.
It's in the game.
Mentally, that I witnessed. It was impressive. And hell, he crossed the finish line, and I just was like, I'd have lost. I'd have never won that bet that he was going to do that. And so, he won at Phoenix earlier this year. I know lots happened since then, and they've been winless up until this point since the COVID break. So I don't think you crown him as a champion yet. But I think Harvick, was trying to win a race and win a trophy, but also trying to keep Joey from going into Phoenix because Joey is a formidable component.
Yeah, you don't want him in the Final Four.
Nope.
If you're in it,
he is going to match up well against Hamlin and Harvick at Phoenix. That's probably one of the guys. If they had to pick their other two to join them in Phoenix, I don't think Joe would have been on that list.
Something else. Now you guys were back at the track for the first time, right?
Oh yeah.
And was it everything you thought it'd be and more?
I just got a text from TJ Majors a minute ago. He said, I watched the last 70 laps of the race late Sunday, and then I got home and I just watched the highlights again. And you can tell, man, you guys call stuff way sooner. Things like the 42 car wrecking down the front straightaway we saw before the cameras were on it. And he's exactly right. When we were at Charlotte calling the race, I'm basically just talking about the same thing that you see at home on your screen.
Mm-hmm.
I have a few other tools, but I can't see cars wrecking before anyone else. I can only see them the same time they're shown on the screen with you, or anybody having any trouble. Or one of the best and most enjoyable things that we do in the booth is I watch two cars. We're talking. The camera's showing something else, maybe a battle for first, and we're talking about it. But I'm also watching the 8th place guy run down the 7th place guy, right? And he's catching him. And I'll say to Marv on talkback, I'll say, Marv, the 8th place guy.
Today's game is at Fenway Park, home of the Boston Red Sox.
And they'll go.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dwight Kuiper along with Mike Krukow for EA Sports MVP Baseball.
Man, this is
on the mound to make the start for the home team, Bronson Arroyo.
7th place, and I know that sounds like something.
Welcome to this American League matchup featuring the Baltimore Orioles and the Boston Red Sox.
Another thing too, just like TJ mentioned, cars hitting the wall.
Here's the game's first batter, Miguel Tejada.
A guy smoking, a guy with a tire wreck, a guy coming to pit road unexpectedly. You can't see that at Charlotte. You can't see that watching the same screen you're watching. But at the racetrack, I was able to talk about all those things that were going on and draw the camera to them and take the audience there to be able to see, and it's just funner to call it with that energy. And one of my favorite things, I was talking with a friend about this the other day, one of my favorite things about listening to races on the radio when I was a kid is basically the race is happening. You got Barney Hall in his nice, smooth voice calling the race, just steadily calling what's happening. And then somebody from a corner goes, "We got cars in the wall!"
Oh, straight up interrupt. Yeah.
You immediately. I'm a fan, right, of my dad. Everybody listening to that race is a fan of somebody. Yep. Your mind immediately goes, "Oh no!"
Right.
Don't let it be Dad.
Don't say that name. Right. I know exactly what you mean.
That emotion is so real.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of my favorite things about calling our races is being that guy. I'm trying my ass off to beat Jeff, Rick, and Steve to the punch.
Yeah.
To call that cars in the fence. Yeah, we've got contact.
Trouble. Right. I mean, there's that moment where all you know there's trouble. You don't know who's in it, and you're waiting to see either hear it or what that camera shows. You just hoping it ain't your car.
Visually, if you see a camera pan, that's it. Audio-wise, it's exactly what you said.
That's such a fun moment. One thing I really enjoy about broadcasting. And the other thing that we got to do that we can do so much better live at the racetrack is talk about that battle at the end. I can see so much more live, even if we're watching the 4 and the 22 battle those last 10, 20 laps on a video. I can really understand a lot more about that battle by seeing it live and looking. I look at the monitor, what you're watching at home, and then I'll look out over the racetrack and watch, and I can see more live about how the 22 exited the corner, how Harvick entered the corner, whether he'll produce a run coming off the corner. I can see that better live and understand what is about to happen and be able to tell you, hey, they're coming off of turn 2, and at the end of this straightaway, Harvick's going to be right on his tail because of what he did in turn 1. That's so much easier to do live.
Yeah.
When I'm watching it on video, I can't see anything. I can't do it.
How could you?
Yeah,
You
I can't tell what run's coming from where, and I can just only state the obvious visual that I'm seeing. Well, he's going. He caught him. He didn't catch him. He's trying to pass him to the inside. He's trying to. It sucks. It sucks so bad. So I'm so much better. I'm so much happier about being at the racetrack. I'm going to call the Xfinity race at Martinsville. That's the only Xfinity race I'm going to call the remainder of the year. I asked to get off of the Xfinity races for a couple reasons. I want to be home with my wife, with our new little baby. And I don't really like calling them in the middle of a championship battle when our guys are involved. It's just not a lot of fun for me. But I do want to call the Xfinity race at Martinsville because that is one of the races that I'm looking at potentially running next year. So I want to be there in person to see it with my own eyes and understand what all those guys are experiencing. So should be a lot of fun. We got Texas coming up this weekend. I'll be in the booth on Sunday. And yeah.
Give me your 20-second answer. Hold on. Give me your 20-second answer on how has the week been with the new one.
Well, I can't speak for Amy, but I believe that Amy seems to be pretty happy with how Nicole's sleeping. And Nicole is really quiet. She hasn't cried once since she's been home.
Goodness.
She's whimpered a couple times with a dirty diaper, or she sort of gets impatient, would be how I describe her mood when she's getting hungry. She does not cry. Well, I'm usually like, I would cry. Like when she was hungry, start crying. And she had and it was different types of cries. She had a certain cry for a poopy diaper. She had a certain cry for a wet diaper, and a certain cry for hungry.
Just like we all have. We have our poopy cries. Yep. Hungry cries.
Yep. And so, but with Nicole, man, she's not doing any of those. She's just.
Good for you. Congratulations. It's remarkable.
Yeah. Tell that to Amy. I feel silly. Taking any congratulations over anything going on.
Well,
but
it's to both of you.
Yeah. So Nicole's been awesome. Sleeps a ton. I'm excited and looking forward to the process of her starting to develop. She's looking around. And
the score is 1-0.
Lots going on. It's a lot of fun.
The show is not over, folks. We have more to come, including Ask Junior. But first, let's talk about the original.
When we talk about originals, we have to start with Valvoline. Because of Valvoline, we do regular segments on this show about originals. Well, we want to also tell you why they are the original motor oil. Valvoline's involvement in the sport goes really deep. I mean, right now you have Alex Bowman racing in the NASCAR Cup Series with Valvoline on board. Wyatt Alexander has the V on his late model. Do-it-yourself star Ricky Boda is a Valvoline guy. Rat rods and stuff. Yeah. We've seen Valvoline running in the Baja 1000. We all identify Valvoline on certain legendary race cars as well, from Mark Martin's Roush Racing number 6. Oh, Cale Yarborough from 1981 Ron Bouchard's ride. It goes all the way back to the beginning. I was going to say 19. But it's 1895. 1895, man.
That's way back.
In Chicago, the Times Herald race. The first auto race in America. Valvoline wasn't just there. They were in Frank Durier's winning car. A number 5 horseless carriage.
There you go.
It wasn't Rick Hendricks.
From then, in 1895, to now, Valvoline stays on the cutting edge. They have a team of scientists. Now, this is really true. I know this sounds like weird stuff, but they have a team of scientists that work in a dedicated engine lab working on motorsports racing oil to make it better, faster for all applications. Short tracks, mile and a half, super speedways, qualifying engine motor oil. I mean, they got it all. Trying to squeeze out every little horsepower, every little bit of torque, depending on the cam and the depending on all the build of the engine itself, it needs different oils, different weights. They don't just ship a bunch of Valvoline over to the shop and say put it in.
There you go. Here's a 10W30.
There you go. There's a case for each engine. Hard to believe, but it's true. Remember, an original doesn't meet standards, it sets them. Valvoline, the original motor oil.
That's one of the toughest balls in baseball to judge.
I think it's time. Let's bring in Chase Briscoe.
And from Mitchell, Indiana, he will pick up his first career win, and it comes at the high banks of Winchester Speedway.
Staying up all night, dreaming of that.
And here comes the 98, the outside lane, tap in the wall. Chase Briscoe trying to hold off Kyle Busch. It's Chase Briscoe who wins it. What a finish. Never give up.
Here he is.
The
man.
Welcome.
Congrats on the base, by the way.
Thanks.
Keeshnick makes
I
his
appreciate
way
it.
to the plate.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks
so
for having me.
I called you yesterday. You were working. Yeah, I know you announced that you're going to go into the Cup Series next year. This is like a huge week for you. Y'all are also racing for Xfinity Series Championship, and so you got a lot of things going on, and I appreciate you in 5 minutes saying, yeah, I'll be there, no problem. And you may, it's early, and I know you got better things to be doing, but
Did you have a suspicion that he was about to get this announcement when you called him?
Yeah, well, not to. I thought
I think everybody knew.
this week.
Yeah, it wasn't a secret.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was coming out this week, but I think we all kind of know. The funny thing is like we'll be up in the booth, and we're talking about a certain car or a driver that hasn't announced their deal yet, like Eric Jones or you. And I'm sitting and Rick and Steve and all them are like dancing around the rumor.
The rumors, right.
They won't even mention it.
Yeah, I don't want to be TMZ up there.
Well, I'm like, guys, why don't y'all just say it? What everybody's already thinking. We all hear about it. Why don't y'all just say it? They're like, we're not journalists, we're not news brokers. You're just talking.
But we're rumor spreaders, aren't we?
delivers.
Isn't that what we signed up for?
So it's kind of weird. I would definitely be up there spilling the beans.
He
I
would.
be for sure.
Right?
Yeah,
He
absolutely.
reaches
Yeah,
with a single.
Dale would
So-
totally do that.
Anyhow, man, congratulations. You're going into the 14 car next year. Clint Boyer's retiring. Awesome guy. I couldn't think of a better person to fill those shoes and go into that car. You have to be over the moon, man. You literally are. You've created this opportunity for yourself.
It's pretty unbelievable. You know, Tony's car was obviously the 14. Growing up, I was a diehard Tony Stewart fan. Like, had the blanket in my bedroom, all the Tony Stewart stuff. Like, I would literally have this Home Depot uniform, helmet. I played the sprint car game almost every day. Like, I was a diehard Tony Stewart fan. So for me to, when I got signed by Ford, I remember people would be like, so what's the dream deal? I'm like, well, the dream would be to drive the 14, but like, I don't really see that happening. And then now for it all come back full circle has been unbelievable.
It is. You've had such an amazing year. How many wins now? 9 or 10?
9, yeah.
Yeah. So that's you've won more races than any Xfinity Series regular in a season, right? I think you broke the record that Sam Ard
I
had.
think Ard had. I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
not
I
really
think you
sure.
broke because I think I might be wrong.
Down he goes on strike.
You tied it.
This time he was way off, and that's
For
I
an
thought
Xfinity Series regular.
Christopher tied it. I can't remember. But anyways, you won a lot of dang races. And this is a weird, I bet this is, because I can see in your sort of reaction to it, you don't even realize really what you've done. You're just kind of grinding, trying to get your opportunity right. You haven't been able to really enjoy this incredible season because, well, not only are you trying to finish the season with a championship trophy, but you also have been worrying yourself into the ground trying to figure out how you're going to create this opportunity.
No, for sure that. Honestly, I think a lot of it too is not racing with fans there. Like, you don't.
That's a
Like, it's just different. Like, you don't.
you
You win the race, but you get out and it's like,
It's
not the same at all. Like, Bristol felt like a win because we had fans there, but the other ones don't really even feel like wins.
Wow.
That's so.
This guy
it's
feasts
so
on
true,
pitches
Mike.
under his hands.
I haven't been to a lot of races this year, but the few that I have went to, it's a weird, eerie feeling.
He's swayed four
It
bases.
is. And the fans, we always would make sure all through the years, anytime you ever did anything and had a mic in your face, you always tried to mention the fans. And golly, now I think in this particular time, this year, we really do see what they bring to the table.
It's a totally different atmosphere. Like, you don't realize how much that changes the, like, especially for a win, for example. You get out and, like, you feed off of their energy. And you get out and it's crickets. You don't hear anything. It's like, you don't even really want to celebrate because you're not celebrating for anybody anyway. So it's just definitely a totally different feel.
Yeah.
Dale had just said that you have probably spent some of the season worrying about your next, your next ride, and I know you said at the beginning of the year that you needed 8 or 9 wins to continue racing. Did I get that right?
Yeah,
Is that something
8.
like that? 8.
Yeah.
Okay. I would assume people thought you were nuts.
Yeah, probably.
But here it is, you've actually accomplished it. So how much have you been worried about the next step?
When I said what I said at the beginning of the year, like I truthfully felt like we were capable of doing it. Like as a team, like as a driver, I felt like at the end of last year, the big 3 guys moving up, I knew that was going to create way more opportunities to win. So I felt like if we all did our job, like we could go win 8, and we won like 5 out of the first 12, and I was like, okay, but this is actually going to happen. I didn't think we would win at the beginning. And then as it kept going and going, like, the whole 8 thing got blown way out of proportion. Never in a million years I think that was going to happen.
If you create, that's one thing I think, you've been in this sport a long time.
He goes the other way.
Long enough. But one of the things that you'll realize is that if you create a soundbite, we're going to ride that soundbite, especially if you keep winning. Yeah. Well, it's like an amazing story.
This game is
if
brought
you
to you
take
by
if you
EA
kind of put
Sports.
yourself in our
EA
shoes,
Sports, it's in the
we're
game.
watching you create this reality. This you went and said, man,
Fly ball taking
I
the left.
need to. I feel like
He makes
I
the
feel like
play.
if I won 8 wins, nobody could deny that I didn't deserve a shot. Right? That was kind of what you were saying.
Against right-handed
is
pitching,
I'm gonna
this
put my,
righty does
I'm
pretty
gonna make
well.
it happen. I'm gonna put my, put my wins out
Anderson
there,
hits one to
and
shallow left.
how can they turn
A
me?
little too
Right?
early,
Yeah,
and he
pretty much.
pulls it
And that was my
foul.
whole thought process. Like, I don't come from money. I don't have any of that. So, like, for Ford to take a chance on me, I have to go win races. If I don't win, at the end of the day, why would they hire me? So, the year before, we only won 1 race. If I come back for the second year now and only win 1 race, or even 2 or 3, I didn't feel like I really proved anything. Like, I needed a big number. And it got to where it was a little nerve-wracking. When I got to like 6 and 7, and I was like, man, what if I don't get to 8 now? Then what's going to happen? And then now, obviously, the deal we get to 9. It's worked out, I think, for the good that I said that, but I definitely did not think it was going to get as much talked about.
Oh,
as it
yeah.
did.
Yeah, talking points, boy. Dale Jr. said some things back in 2004 that still stick to this day.
Hey, like what?
Let me see if I can put myself back in the moment. That don't mean Daddy won here 10 times. Pretty good, huh?
Hey, 1984, Sam Ard and Ingram won 8.
The score is
So you
2-1.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
thought
I didn't
so.
know that.
Yeah, you have a record. Honestly, man, those are 2 amazing race car drivers that have held that record since when? 82?
It says 84. I'm
84.
looking at the stats.
That
I
record
didn't know
has
it
been
was
there since 1984. I think that Christopher tied it. And
Christopher had the most
Takes,
rookie
and the
wins.
count evens at 1.
okay, he didn't get there. I think I got 7 one year.
Hit weekly
And,
towards second.
So you have a distinctive record that sets yourself, put your name at the top of that list.
He gives
and
up
it could
everything
probably
to
be
get
there
that
for
ball.
another
I don't know.
20,
Cinder's
30
going to be
years.
tough.
This guy here has
What's that?
I think Cinder's going to be tough.
will.
Like, he's
I
going
don't.
to.
Yeah, I mean, with you moving on, and him with that confidence of going into the Cup ride, it's funny when you get the Cup
hit
ride
to the left side.
locked in, how you race.
Yeah.
Man,
He
you
missed
race
the
with so
bag.
much more confidence.
Yeah,
I'm moving on, man. I can just use you guys up. You know what I'm saying?
You don't care.
Yes, you don't care anymore, and you still have this fast, amazing car. And so that should. But anyways, yeah, it should be interesting watching him next year.
Tell you what,
It's
this guy's
fun
got
to
an
watch this
uncanny knack for
Xfinity
picking
series
good pitches
because
to steal
then
on. He may be going
it
right
changes
here.
identity every year. So many people
Yeah.
moving in and out of the season, out of the series. Anyhow, tell us how you got the news. Like, was this? Did you kind of hear rumblings yourself?
This is a good story.
Yeah.
So, obviously, like,
Gathers it in
I
with
knew
his
that I was
glove.
in contention for it, but it was back and forth. Like, it was going to be me or Clint
Flawless
for really
execution
about a
right
month
there on
and
the
a half.
double
And
play.
I get a call from our marketing guy, and this is probably 2 weeks ago. He's like, hey, Tony Center is playing down. He wants you and your wife to come, and your parents are going to meet us at Tony's house in Indiana. So I'm like, okay, so I go out and tell my wife, I'm like, hey, like, we gotta go to Tony's. I think it was he called on Tuesday, this is on Thursday. I was like, so cancel everything we got. Well, she had this heart doctor appointment that she couldn't miss, and then like we're doing the fertility stuff, and that was that same morning. And she's like, I don't know if I can do it. Like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to get out of all this. So, long story short, she ends up not going. So I get up there, and our Verlander's his name, the marketing guy. He's like, he's like, High Point's still on the edge. Like, we don't know if they're gonna do this deal or not. He's like, we're flying everybody in, and hopefully. Tony's going to put him on the spot, and this is going to be the deciding factor.
He's on first.
So, so like, this is what I think's going on. So I'm like, okay, he's going to bring my parents up. Like, he's going to put them on the spot right there. They're not going to say no with all of us sitting there. Well, my Xfinity guys, they had rolled a cup car into their shop and wrapped it with High Point 14 on it. So they're asking me all this stuff. I'm like, guys, like, I'm telling you, I'm not going to that deal. It's not even close to done. Like, we're still working on it. I was like, I think this is the deciding factor. I got to go up there Thursday. Come to find out, this deal had been done for a week and a half, and Tony was trying to like prank me and get everybody there to surprise me. So like we sit down and we hung out all day, and I thought it was weird.
All day?
Yeah, like we flew up at
He checked in time.
2 o'clock, and we were there till 10 o'clock.
But leaving you unknown of what was
I had
happening?
no idea.
Like he didn't tell you at the beginning and then let y'all hang out all day.
Like they had literally been lying to me for a week and a half, because I had called like almost every day. I was like, hey, have you heard from High Point and Verlander's? Like,
Brown ball hit the other way to the right side.
I don't know what's going on.
So
it gets better. So Tony picks us up from the airport, and we get there, and the High Point people, Mike and Tom, the owners, are already at Tony's house. And I'm like, why are they already here? I thought they were flying in, but I didn't really think anything of it. Well, then I started hanging out with them and talking to them. They'd been there for like 2 days already. Like, I'm like,
he's batting
why had they been there for 2 days? Because I thought they were flying in that same day. So it really wasn't clicking. Well, we hang out all day or whatever. We have dinner. We get done with dinner, and Tony's like, somehow the word chance came up. And he's like, so speaking of chances, and I'm like, oh boy, here it is. We're going to put him on the spot right here at dinner table. This is going to be the deciding factor.
That was some good base
and he talks for a little bit and goes, we're going to give you a chance in the 14 next year. That's your car. And I didn't even know what to say. Like, my parents are sitting beside me. They start bawling. Like, it was the High Point people are almost in tears. Like, it was just a crazy moment. I got a picture of it, of me and Tony like fist pumping each other. My parents crying right beside me. And Tony's like, by the way, we have hidden cameras here. Like, and he goes, this is, you only get told you're going to cut for the first time one time, and I wanted it to be special, and I wanted all your family to be here for that moment. So he did an amazing job, and then come to find out the car was just there to obviously surprise me. It was cool how he did it.
So this was 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago, yeah.
Wow.
And then you kept it a secret from us.
I mean, everybody knew.
How difficult was that? Like
it was difficult.
Well, who did you tell? You had to tell somebody.
I just called like the people that were really close, like Briggs and Beth Cunningham, for example. They were the ones that literally gave me a shot in Arca. And I called him right away, and I was like, hey, I just want to let you know, like, without you, that none of this would ever be possible. And I called like people that I felt like got me to this point in my career. And I didn't want you to hear it from the internet. I wanted you to hear it from me. So I told a couple people.
Well, okay, so your parents started balling. Is that what, I'm trying to look at the scene here. And I'm also trying to visualize Tony's house, which is, I mean,
it's like Bass Pro Shops. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's similar to what I'm got in my mind here. All right, so you're sitting stable. They start balling. All right, how long did it take for you to process all this news? I mean, like, did it ever get emotional for you?
It was, but like I was still in shock. Like I'm still in shock, truthfully. It's crazy to think just because of how much of a Tony diehard I was to get to drive the 14 car. But even Tony was like, man, your reaction was the same as you were when we sit down at dinner. Like, I think he was kind of caught off guard. Like, I didn't know what to say. I just kept saying, I think I said thank you 15 times in a matter of a minute. I was like, thank you. I can't believe this. Thank you. Like, I was so caught off guard.
That's amazing. So, like, I'm curious, maybe you know this. I mean, when did Bowyer make his decision?
That happened, okay, so that happened at the dinner table. So Bowyer's deal apparently wasn't supposed to get out. So my phone, like 5 minutes before Tony tells me, my phone starts blowing up. I'm like, what was going on? So my wife ended up not going, so I pull my phone out. I'm like, hey, can you FaceTime my wife and tell her? All of a sudden, I'm getting all these notifications. You're going to the 14, congrats. I'm like, what in the world? So apparently, like, Tony had called Clint 30 minutes before we sit down at dinner, and Clint was like, save all this stuff. Like, I signed my TV contract this morning. Like, we're all good. So Clint, I don't think was supposed to put it out because it kind of caught SHR off guard, but
hit towards first.
Are you saying that Clint went and did something that wasn't exactly, what the plan was? No way. All right. Well, that's interesting. So I guess Clint had been really kind of mulling over whether to come back or not, right? Or, what his career was. Because I was curious on when the TV deal really materialized, even before they announced it. But it sounds to me like it all sort of unraveled 2 weeks ago for you, at least, or not unraveled.
Yeah, that's when I got told.
Yeah.
But apparently it was done a week and a half before that. And I had no idea what was going on.
Good. Keeping secrets over there at Stuart Haas, aren't they?
It's bad. They were all apologizing after, like, man, we felt terrible.
So how you already have a lot on your mind, your Xfinity. You're trying to win the championship. You got the best opportunity as anybody else out there to go out there and win the championship in Phoenix. And then you have this announcement, which is a great announcement, right? This is what you've been wanting. Does that make things harder mentally going forward, or does it not change anything? Can you compartmentalize and put it to the side?
I think, like you said, it just adds confidence.
Yeah.
Like, not that I'm going to go out there and race anybody any different, but like, I'm confident. Like, I'm going cup racing. Like, that's an unbelievable feeling to have. So I think it doesn't really change much other than it just adds confidence, at least in my career.
So Richard Boswell.
Yeah, that's your buddy.
Yeah, he is. Richard's been your crew chief for how many years?
So we ran 5 races in 18, and then the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, Richard used to race for us. For everybody listening, Richard was a driver. His dad was a driver. I raced against Richard's daddy.
Old Dickie.
Yeah, and late model stocks. We actually got into us. Well, I spun him out at Myrtle Beach one time. They had a big old crash. But I'm probably raced him. That's the only time I remember racing him, but I probably raced him more than that. But anyways, I met Richard, through mutual friends, and bought a limited late model from him, and years and years ago. And he was trying to race and trying to drive himself, just like his dad. And he ended up driving here.
The Pro Cup.
Yes, racing the Pro Cup, which was Hooters Pro Cup.
Hooters Pro Cup. That's right.
And he raced late models for us for a while, and man, he tried hard. I'm sure you and him had some conversations. He tried so hard to make his driving career stick. But eventually, it got to the point to where I said, "Hey, man, he's got a pretty good brain."
Yeah, for sure. He's smart.
Yeah, very, very sharp guy.
Because he was an engineer here as well.
Yep. I said you could. Well, he wasn't yet. I said,
that's right. That's right.
I said you could become a great engineer and kind of move up into a role, maybe on a pit box someday as a crew chief, if you really applied yourself, and you kind of have to make that decision. And he did eventually made that decision to get out of the car and commit to what he became today. Just tell us a little bit about him and how great y'all's relationship is as y'all continue to try to win this championship this year.
Yeah, I think, Richard could even tell you, it kind of started off rocky. Like, we got to where, not that we didn't click, but like we were struggling at the beginning, especially at the beginning of 2019. And, I think a turning point was the first race at Iowa in 2019. That's like one of my favorite tracks. I love going there. Like, we had that one circled all year long as a one that we could go in. We were terrible. I mean, terrible. And I'm out on the pit road after the race, and he comes down and, chews me out.
What did he say?
I can't even hear.
I can't even see Richard chewing somebody out.
It was big.
I can. I've seen him mad. I've seen it.
Yeah, he gets fired up.
Yeah.
I know he does.
He has a gear
I know
in
he's
him.
capable of getting fired up, but I just can't see him chewing somebody out.
Oh, he'll do it. But just for the record, like, I like being chewed out. Yeah. Because if you don't tell me what I'm doing wrong, like, I'm not going to be able to fix it, right? So, like, I like getting people being hard on me. So he comes down there, and, he reams me new. And I was like, okay, like, that's how it's going to be. Like, let's do this deal. And we went back to the second Iowa and won the race. Like, total turning point. And, like, I really felt like from that point on, our whole relationship changed. Like, that next Monday, we went to Chick-fil-A. We both wrote out a huge long list of what he thought I could do better, what I thought he could do better. And then on, it's been great.
What did he think you could do better?
Just focusing more and applying myself more to, like, studying and just trying to be a better race car driver from behind the scenes, not what you're doing inside the race car. Like, this is before we had SMT, but he's a diehard SMT guy. He, like, loves the SMT. So, like, just studying SMT, watching video, which I already watched a lot of video, but just, he really drilled in my head. These guys have way more experience than you have ever. Last year I still didn't even have 100 pavement races my entire career. So just trying to, close that deficit up. You got to start studying and applying more. And I feel like ever since that moment, I've really tried to study more of what other guys were doing and just try to make myself.
So he was right.
Yeah, for sure.
What is High Point?
So High Point's an IT company. They have 3 locations. There's one in New Jersey, Sparta, New Jersey. They actually have one in Ballantyne, North Carolina, and they have one overseas. Their big deal is banking. They do Barclays, for example, all the IT, the infrastructure, the security of it. But yeah, IT company. And this, so you won't believe this story of how this High Point came together. So my dad is just randomly at SEMA. He'd never gone. I got him tickets last minute. Like the big show. Like I don't even know how to,
Vegas?
like everything there is with anything auto. Yeah, like it's unbelievable. So he goes out there, and the CEO of High Point, Mike, is walking out. He's there for some IT thing, and he goes to Buffalo Wild Wings that night. Walks out. Same exact time my dad walks out of this Mexican restaurant. They walk by down the sidewalk, and my dad's wearing this Ford 98 hat, and it's got a 98 on the side. And just so happens this Mike guy walks in the same side as the 98, sees the 98, he's a big NASCAR guy, and says, "Hey, 98, Chase Briscoe." My dad turns around, they start chit-chatting a little bit, and the guy's like, "Hey, my family's big NASCAR guys. We're actually, big Cole Custer fans, truthfully. But I really appreciate what your son does. He's a big guy of faith as well. Because I just like what he stands up for. And if there's ever anything I can do for you guys, here's my card." So my dad, sends me a picture of the car, and I send it right away to SHR. We'll kind of find out they were trying to get High Point to sponsor Cole like 2 years before, and even a couple months before when he was moving up the Cup. And he's like, "Man, we're not interested in a sponsorship deal. We don't want to do it." So Verlander, the marketing guy, calls me back. He's like, "We've actually talked to him, approached him." He's like, "But it sounds like this might be a little bit different." So pretty much, we call SHR calls High Point. And we're like, "If you don't come on board, he is not racing next year. Like, there is no way that Chase is going to race our car." And I think it came together the second week of January this year. Like, it was super last minute. And it was literally, if they don't sign up on this Wednesday, Monday we're shutting down. Like, I'm not racing this year. So the High Point guy, like he was literally just talking about the other day, like he just feels like it's truly fate how it all works out, because he walked on literally just the other side of the sidewalk. He would not have seen my dad's 98 on his hat and all this stuff. It's just been crazy. And now they're moving up the Cup.
This has actually been your whole life, though. I mean,
yeah,
I read a really good article by Jeff Gluck a few weeks ago. And it was basically, he listed, I believe, 10 situations where you have just defied the odds.
Yeah, like
just
my career
freak
was over.
Things, freak things. This has been your whole life, has it not?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
What do you attribute, how would I say this? You routinely defy the odds. You have, in this interview so far, we've only been here for 15 or 20 minutes, and you said, "Well, this is a great story, so check this out, and this is a great story." Everything is a great story with you. And so how are you able to, how are you the recipient of such, I don't want to call it luck, I'm just talking about, like, what do you attribute this to?
Honestly, it goes back to my faith. I remember so many times growing up where, we wouldn't have $500 to go to this track. And me and my family would be like, "All right, are we quitting or what?" And we would just pray and be like, if it's meant to be, open the door, God. If not, close the door and we're selling it. Like, if it's not meant to be. And next week we get a $1,500 sponsor, a $1,000 sponsor. It's the same way now. Like, if I didn't get a ride next year, yeah, I want to race. But if that's not what God's plan is, then I'm okay with that. I'm not going to try to pursue after it, but I feel like he's going to open the door if he wants it, and I feel like, that's kind of my path in life, is him to use me to maybe lead other people to Christ. So that's kind of my victory celebration too. Like, I get down on one knee and just say thank you prayer, because I feel like there's so many times he's opened a door last minute that, perfect example is this year, the High Point deal. Like, I was 3 days away from not racing this year, and it all comes together, and now they're going Cup racing. Because
of a freak meeting after leaving a Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah, that is the thing. My dad didn't want Mexican that night.
That's so funny.
Hey guys, let's take a quick break from this conversation to tell you about an important partner that keeps us looking good.
Let's tell you about Indochino. Indochino suits are great for weddings and work, and anything in between, I suppose.
That's right. Get into those two.
Yeah. It's funny how they picked just two, I guess, events.
Yeah.
Two things you do
to signify the ends of the spectrum.
Yeah. Weddings is one, and work is the other. They even offer casual options like shirts, coats, and chinos. It's in their name. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
You had to dress up for anything lately? I haven't. I'm not really been going anywhere. No big events going on.
No, it's
The wedding.
You went to a wedding.
It was weird. Weird to be around a lot of people.
Swung on
Oh,
a
yeah, that's a
discus
bummer.
slider
Yeah.
at the knee.
What's a COVID wedding?
Great
I mean,
COVID wedding is weird because you can't, like, I noticed I was at the table and you couldn't understand what people were talking about because I'm so used to reading lips. I just kind of nod.
it's weird. I got more questions, but we'll ask later.
All
Yeah,
right,
probably
everybody,
not something you
up
talk
on their
about in
feet,
this ad
time
feed
for
for
the
Indochino.
second stretch.
They
Yeah,
want it
I
to
could use
be
a bit of a
rosy,
break.
happy. Not about this freaking depressing wedding you went to. With Indochino, you get custom-fitted suits, coats, and casual wear at surprisingly affordable
Stepping
prices.
in, Trot Nixon.
You go right online. You put in your own sizes, like your wife could measure you,
Out of the zone,
and
that's a ball.
you put your sizes in, and then they personalize clothing to fit your size.
Just like your own
Pitch
personal
taken
taste.
for a ball.
It's amazing how that went in the process all along.
Right?
Right?
Yeah. All this time we were doing suits.
Took us took us well into the 2000s to get to this.
Or longer.
They have those style consultants if you're dumb like me.
Just let them get away.
If you're incapable of measuring or reading a ruler,
It's an ideal funding situation.
have style
It's
consultants.
to be prepared.
They can read the ruler for you.
Miyagi picks one
Or
up and out of
somebody
the
out
zone.
there.
They do want you to measure from certain areas, like your armpit.
Taken
Is
for
that
a
what they do?
Yeah.
Is that why you said it's better to have your wife?
Yeah, tip of the shoulder.
Yeah.
There's some particular. It's a science measuring one up for some Indochino gear.
Well, but it's simple science. I mean, that's what we're trying to say, right? I mean, like it's science. See, you say science, I think that's difficult.
Well, he said it's difficult for him. Matthew
It-
said it's
This
impossible
easy
to
fly
measure.
ball to left should
I'm
be
big.
handled.
He can't measure
He's
himself.
got it.
I think we need to see you try to measure yourself.
It would
The
be a comedy.
Orioles have
Would
called
it?
down to the pen to
I
get
think
a
that's why I
right-hander
wanna see it.
warming up.
It's almost
The
off-season
corners
wedding
are hugging
time
the line.
in our industry.
That's true, actually. Everybody in the industry gets married
Ain't
in
poking holes in that.
November, December, January.
Yeah.
A ball.
And that means Indochino is a no-brainer for you and your groomsmen.
And
Forget
here's the
off-the-rack suits that don't fit different body types. Everybody wearing the same suit, looking all funny, not fitting right. You can tell when you get like, you got the 4 or 5 whatever groomsmen up there, and they went and got the rentals. You can tell when you're looking
Yeah.
because one guy's
Just
fits
out of the
okay,
field
the
is
other
Reed.
guy's is way off.
Throw
Wait.
goes
And
for
this
the
all
top,
happens in the last
it's
minute.
a
No,
base
can't go
hit.
back and get done.
That-
Redone.
that-
You gotta make it work.
That's true. I'm actually remembering your wedding, actually, when
The Orioles have
Everyone
some
fit
activity down in the
incredibly well.
yeah, but we were nervous because they all showed up like. You got married in the off season. We were all gone for Thanksgiving break. You came back. I got the touch right before the wedding.
I did too, and mine I look like a Baggy Jones. It's like
Baggy Jones. That's his new name.
freaking awful.
Hey,
I wish that
I will now
Indochino-
call him Baggy Jones for the rest of his life. That is a fact. No, Baggy Jones. That's it. Our
Yeah.
producer. At the end of every show,
It's
this
an
show is
out
produced by
to left
Baggy
field.
Jones.
Order with ease and get it shipped
Squeezes it
fast.
for the out.
No matter where you live, you can live anywhere. And with all the ways to customize, you can add a personal touch everyone will be proud to wear without emptying your pocket. Because the best part, Indochino suits start at just
Change 'em
$2.99
inside for a
with all
ball.
customizations included. Visit one of the Indochino showrooms across North America or book a
Gathers it in
virtual
with his
appointment
glove.
and shop online
That'll
at
do it for the Red Sox in the
Indochino.com.
seventh.
And right now, you'll get $30 off any purchase of $3.99 or more when you enter the code
With
Dale
7
Jr.
innings
at
played,
checkout.
the
That's
Red Sox trail by
Indochino.com, promo code Dale Jr. I think
Stepping
that
in 1 for 3,
the reason
Sean
why,
Casey.
there's a lot of variables at play when you keep sort of getting these extended opportunities and new breaks and new chances. But I think it says a lot about. I think it has a lot to do with you and how you're easy to work with. You're a hard worker. I think too, when you spend time around people, they want to help you. They want to get you to the next thing. I've been around you just a little bit, and I've become a big fan of seeing you succeed and progress and get newer, better opportunities. So I can imagine how I feel, and then to be a crew member or Richard or Tony Stewart, your family, anybody that's really spent extended time with you, they all just want to continue to do whatever it takes to keep you going, and get you these opportunities, because you're very talented as a driver, but also you're an incredible person. You're just an easygoing, likable. You don't ruffle feathers, not controversial. You've had some, you've been aggressive on the racetrack, but you get out and you get out of the car and you say, hey, this is what happened. This is why I did what I did. I'm more than happy to go settle that or sort that out, and you go sort it out.
Yeah, I'm not mad about hard racing. That's what we get paid to do. Perfect example is the Talladega deal. Like Noah almost I was blocking. I deserved it. He was doing what I was supposed to do, or what he was supposed to do. I was doing what I was supposed to do, and I appreciate everything you said. First off, and I feel like that's one thing I've tried to do my entire career is just treat everybody how they should be treated. You never know who that person might know down the road and says, hey, we need a driver, and he's a crew guy, and he's like, hey, I worked with Chase. He was just a nice guy. Let's give him a shot. Yeah. I've just tried to do that my entire career and, not cause controversy. I'm a super relaxed guy in general. I don't get worked up. I don't get too excited. And, it could always be worse is the way Kansas last year, I get crashed 12 to go, right? Almost locking into the Final Four. At the end of the day, I'm still getting to drive race cars for a living. I had a great day.
Is it really that easy? Or does it take does it take about 24 hours?
No, I really don't get mad. I've never, I don't yell on the radio. I don't cuss on the radio. And I think a lot of that goes back to when I was volunteering at the ARCA stuff. I was there from 6 a.m. to 8 o'clock at night, and when the driver's yelling and screaming after you've been there all day long in 100-degree weather working, it's just degrading. You don't want to be I've worked my tail off all day long and all week for you, and now you're complaining about how bad it is because we're running 6. It's not that bad.
Right. That's a great point.
I texted with Boswell, and I told Boswell, I said, we got Chase coming on the show. Give me the most fascinating thing that you can tell me about Chase Briscoe. And Boswell said his humility is off the charts. And I agree with it. But I would say that if humility is your greatest trait, how does one stay humble after they've just accomplished a dream by making it cut?
I've just always been like that.
The Orioles are getting their bullpen ready.
It wouldn't be possible, first off, without everybody else. I'm just one small key to all this stuff. If I'm driving a car that's not capable of winning, it doesn't matter how great of a race car driver I am or not. You're only as good as the stuff you're in, so it's one small piece of this big puzzle. So I've just always been humble. I'm just grateful to be here, first off. I don't think I deserve to be here necessarily. If you go back and look at my dirt resume, I won 6 sprint car races, I think, before I came to NASCAR. I didn't race a lot, I didn't win a lot, but I've been able to get here, and I'm just blessed to be here, and I'm just happy to be here. Whether I win 1 race or 30 races, I'm just glad to be part of it.
What do you think were the moments, though, in your career? You say that I had the same, I had a similar feeling about my late model racing. I got a chance to drive my dad's Xfinity Series car, and we went on and did some great things, but up to that point, I ran 159 late model races and won 2 or 3. And so if you look at just the statistics, you would go, well, that guy doesn't belong in the next level, right? Or how is he getting that opportunity? But there had to have been, just like when Brad Keselowski ran, almost won Memphis in the truck, when he subbed for somebody in that 2 truck. I think you were working for that team, right?
No.
Or you had been?
With the Ultra Motorsports, I had one.
Yeah. So, anyways, I got my time on that. But, so Brad, that was Brad's moment.
Yeah.
Right? I had seen him race cars and it shouldn't run well and do well with them, but nobody was really paying attention.
He hits it over
but he goes out there and does that. And so what was your moment? What was the race, or maybe the races, the season, where somebody went, man, that guy, I'm gonna give him a call, and maybe it was Brad's truck, I don't know, or the ARCA team.
Yeah.
What were the events that happened?
There was a couple, but I think the one that really set it all in motion is, when I was sleeping on couches, I was good friends with Christopher Bell, and he had this opportunity from Roush, and it was almost a Ford development deal. Well, he was already signed up at Toyota, so he called me, hey, they offered me this, I'm not going to take it, just let me know if you want to try to pursue it. So here I am. I just walked in Roush's front door. I had the guy's name. I said, hey, is this guy here? I'd like to talk to him. And I don't know how I got a meeting, but somehow I got this meeting. And I walked in, and I'm, like I said, I'd won 5 or 6 sprint car races. I had nothing. He was a USAC champion, all this stuff. And I sit down with the guy, and I'm like, hey, I know you guys are looking at maybe starting a development deal. I know Christopher Bell's name's been thrown around. I would love to just throw my name in the hat. Whether, you guys use me or not, I just want to have a chance. And I said, actually, me and Christopher are going to be teammates this week, and I've never been in equal equipment. I'll just let you know how it goes. Well, we ran a $300 to win mini sprint race. Like, meant nothing, right? Yeah. It was just going up there to have fun. Well, I win. Bell ran second. So I emailed the guy, and I was like, hey, this is how it went. I didn't expect to hear anything back. Well, that same week before I went there, I went and met with this guy about maybe representing me, and he had called the Cunningham people and said, hey, if you guys ever go into another test and have an extra car, I got this kid. His name's Chase Briscoe. Maybe just keep him in mind. So this Cunningham team had heard my name from him, and then Cunningham actually calls Roush that following week and says, hey, we're going to take this extra car to test. Do you have any kids you guys are maybe interested in taking or anything? And I said, yeah, actually, there's this Chase Briscoe kid. He's just here. You guys are going to take another car. Maybe try him. So this is like 4 weeks before all of it happens. Well, I've been down in North Carolina, and I haven't heard nothing. I've been down here for 3.5 years, I want to say, and I was over it.
What were you doing?
So just volunteering at different race shops. I was
working?
Yeah, trying. I would walk up. A lot of them would turn me down.
Not driving. You were.
No, I would just work. Yeah, I would just work. Yeah. So the first shop I was actually at was Brian and Bob Keselowski's. And learning from Bob, that was tough. It was intimidating. Yeah. And then to come back full circle, and I drive for Brad, and then end up being the last race for them and all that. It's just crazy how it all came back full circle. But anyways, I'm driving back to Indiana to go run this sprint car race, and I called my mom, and I just down. I'm over it. I'm moving back next week. I've been down here long enough. Nothing's happening. 2 hours later after that phone call, I get a call from this guy named Kerry Scherer, who's the owner of Cunningham Motorsports. He says, hey, Chase, we've heard your name thrown around a couple times from a couple people. We're actually going to take this car to test in a couple months if you'd be interested in maybe driving it.
What's the track?
Nashville. Fairgrounds.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I would love to do that. I'll be at the shop Monday morning. So I go to the shop Monday morning, and I think they think I'm coming there potentially with a paycheck. They're showing me what they have and all this stuff. So right before I walk out, Paul Andrews, Quicky's old crew chief, is the general manager. And I said, hey, Paul, I don't know if it means anything to you guys, but I'd be more than willing to just volunteer my time here if that makes a difference or not. So he's like, yeah, that'd be great. So I showed up, and I made sure I was the first one there, last one to leave every day. And, I would get there at 6:45, 7, leave at 7, 8 o'clock at night. It sucked. I'm not going to hold you. So I'm doing this for a while, and it was towards probably 3 or 4 months into this, and we're going to go to Mobile, Alabama for a test, and Tom Hessert's driving. Well, Tom had to fly back to Philadelphia 2 hours before the test was over. So the crew chief, Chad Bryant's like, hey, take your stuff down there. I'm not promising anything, but I might let you get in this thing. So the end of the day comes, and he's like, all right, let's load it up.
No one on in 2 hours.
Dang. I thought that was my chance. I was going to go drive this thing, and then he goes, I'm just kidding with you. Go put your stuff on. I was like, okay. So I go put my stuff on. It was the worst 20 laps of my entire life. He puts me out there on 100-lap tires. I've never really driven a stock car. I'm driving this thing so hard, roasting the tires down the straightaway. It was bad. So I get out, and he goes, so what'd you think? I said, I just blew my shot, didn't I? And he goes, yeah, it wasn't good. I'm not going to lie to you. And I remember calling my dad, and I was like, I just blew it. This team, there's no way they're going to do anything. So I keep volunteering, and 2 or 3 months later, we go to Nashville for the test, and they take a third car for me, and I end up being faster than their 2 main drivers. And we go back to the race 2 weeks later, and the main guy sits on the pole. So they're like, man, you were 2 or 3 tenths better than him. Well, the owner of the team, Briggs and Beth Cunningham, started hearing about how I was working there and thought it was pretty neat that I was just volunteering my time, not really expecting to get a race. And so they could say, hey, we're going to let you run a race in 2015. So I go run IRP and ran 10th. Didn't run very good.
So how long